Hi guys, this is going to be a quick tutorial about how to score the Blurry Objects task and also how to calculate the difference and following that the average difference. So the first thing you need to do is go to the BSc Psychology website and download the two answer keys. One of them will be the Blurry Objects task answer key, and one of them, which is up on the screen here, and one of them is going to be the Blurry Objects task hindsight answer key, which is up on the screen here. They look almost identical, except for the titles are slightly different, and of course the random numbers and their corresponding slides are different. So looking at the Blurry Objects task key for the first condition, if you were going to go about this conceptually, you would say, if I've written down random number 20, say, that corresponds with slide number 4. If I've written down random number 16, that would correspond with slide number 8. And again, these random numbers that you've written down would be the numbers that were on the top left-hand corner of the slides during the experiment. So now let's go through a little bit of an example I've set up in Excel. Okay, so we have, for this experiment, a baseline condition which you did first and a hindsight condition which you did second. I just wanted to remind you that in the baseline condition, you don't know what the image is until the end. And in the hindsight condition, you see the clear image at the start. So the first thing that you want to do then is look at the data that you've got collected. Now let's look at this person. They need to know what answer to score, and the logic behind that is you are going to use the data from the first answer that you guessed correctly. So in this condition, or in this sequence, it's the first sequence, the correct answer was apple. Alright, going through this, we see that this person selected ball first, and they thought the picture was a tree. Then they decided it was an apple, which is the correct answer. Then they thought, no, it's a ball, and then they settled on apple again. So even though apple is here twice, the first time that they got it correct was right here. Okay, so then what we do is go and look at the random number that was written down, which in this case was 3, and then we'll go to the answer key and convert that to a slide number. Now it's already written in here in this table, but if we were to use the answer key for that, we would go down to find random number 3, and we would look across the slide number and see that it's slide number 7. And that's why 7 is in the slide number column here. For the hindsight condition, it's exactly the same process, but you've probably only guessed once. Again, let's just go through this. If we've got random number 51, we'll use the answer key for the hindsight condition. We'll go down and find random number 51 and see that that corresponds with slide number 3. And that's why we have number 3 in here. Now the next step in this process, once you've figured out what your slide numbers are and what slide numbers you're going to use, is to calculate the difference. So there are 4 sequences for baseline and 4 sequences for hindsight, which means you should have 4 slide numbers for baseline and 4 slide numbers for hindsight. And you're going to calculate the difference for each sequence. So in sequence 1, you'll get a baseline number and a hindsight number. And what you do is the following. You go baseline minus hindsight equals some number. So let's go through that kind of quickly. So the slide number for the baseline condition was 7. The slide number for the hindsight condition was 3. I'm in Excel here, so I'm going to use a formula to do the subtraction. And we get that our difference for that sequence was 4. Now again, there are 4 sequences, so you're going to get 4 differences. I'm just going to make up some data. Okay, so once you've got 4 differences, what you're then going to do is take the average for those differences. Conceptually, you would do this with the data in front of you, or on the screen rather, by going 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 divided by the total number that is in that formula. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 divided by 4. Again, I'm going to do this with a formula because I'm in Excel. Oops, that's not right. That's better. Okay, so I've got my average for this now being 2.5. And that's how you convert your answers into slide numbers and then take the difference for each condition by taking the baseline slide number and subtracting the hindsight slide number. And then once you have all of those numbers, that's how you take the average. So this 2.5 would be the average difference.